Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my 2026 goals. So this is mostly book related, both my own reading and my writing, but there might be some other things I decide to sprinkle in there as well. But yeah, I am really excited for this year. I'm really hoping that some of the goals I set last year that I wasn't able to hit, I can hit this year instead. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any goals that you guys are excited about. Even if it's not necessarily book related, I'd still love to hear what you guys are really hoping to achieve this year. And yeah, let's just get into the video. All right, so the first thing is my reading goal for the year. I'm now mixing up last year and this year. I think last year I set it for 55 and this year I set it for 50, but it might have been the other way around. But I'm pretty sure I set my reading goal for 50 this year. If that's incorrect, I will change it on the screen. I should have looked at this before I set up the camera, but I was like, oh, I know. And then now I'm sitting here and I'm like, wait a minute. But no, 50 to 55 generally is the normal range that I go for, because I think that for me, I've been able to consistently read about 50 books / slightly more every year for the past like 3 to 4 years. And so I think it's a good number for me. But I wanted to have slightly less this year just because this year is going to be extremely busy because I will be graduating from undergrad at the end of the year. And so I am like, oh my goodness. I'm going to be busy with that as well as submitting applications for graduate school. And so I am just like, I want to be a little bit easier on myself. So I knocked some books off number-wise. So I might surpass it. I might not meet it. I have no idea. It's just a goal to kind of have an idea of, you know, a number in mind that I'd like to hit. But it's not like, I'm not super like strict about myself. Like if I don't meet it, it's not the end of the world. And again, if you guys set reading goals and you don't hit them, like please don't beat yourself up about it. It is totally okay to have been busy and not been able to do the things that you necessarily wanted to do. Now, do I think it's important to make time for things you want to do and not just, you know, work? Of course, but I know that not everyone has the privilege to do that. And even if they do, that sometimes they do other things that are not reading, and that's okay too. So yeah, just don't beat yourself up if you end up not hitting it, or if you know, didn't hit it this past year. Like, it is okay. You know, if you read at least one book, I call that a success because I know many people who don't even read one book a year. So just wanted to preface that because I know some people have been having issues with either I read this many books a year and people are like, how? And they're like jealous, but then there are people who are jealous and like attacking other people, and that's also not okay. Like, we can be okay with not meeting a goal. We can be okay with surpassing a goal. We can also be okay with people being at a higher I was gonna say higher number of books, but I don't know if that totally makes sense. Like their reading goal being a higher number and them actually meeting it. Like we all have different lives and how we live them. And so we're all going to read kind of different paces as well as different books, and how many in a year changes based on everybody's day-to-day decisions. So that was a whole whirlwind that did not need to happen, but it did. So you're welcome, I guess. But yeah, that was the first goal that I set, was that I want to read 50 books in 2026. All right, so my next goal is that I would like to read more diverse books. So both in the aspect of the authors, but also the characters within the books. So I know that a lot of the authors that I have read are predominantly white, which is partially because those ones are pushed out a lot. And I'm not saying that there are not authors who are not white that have not been pushed out, but that just tends to be the majority of the ones that I tend to see. So I want to personally do my own kind of research and digging to find authors that aren't white, as well as characters that aren't white, because I feel like that is another very common theme that I see, especially in romance books, is that both characters are very much white. And again, nothing wrong with that, but also we don't live in a world where we only have white people. So I would like to read what feels more like my way I grow up with life and there being diversity around me. So I know that last year I did, for February, since it was Black History Month, I read only Black authors in February, and I think I'm going to do that again this year. I actually really enjoyed February. I'm not gonna lie, think it was one of my best reading months, not just numerically, like how many I read, but also like the enjoyment that I got. So I definitely want to do that again. But then also I want to try to read more indie authors, because I know that I'm small in the book talk world. And so I can't even imagine what it's like to not just be an influencer, but being an author, having to try to promote yourself in such a big sphere, but being smaller. I hopefully will soon, because I do have a book that I'm writing, which I'll get into later in the video. But for right now I don't. So, you know, I can only imagine. And so I want to be a voice that can read indie authors and kind of be like, hey guys, I know that they're not traditionally published. I know that they're not, you know, Anna Huang and Elle Kennedy and whatever, but like this book was so good, like you have to read it. So those kind of ranges are kind of what I'm really hoping for this year. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna read plenty of books by authors that, you know, Book Talk obsesses over. Like, that's not gonna just stop, but I just want to add more variety on what I'm reading, I guess, if that makes sense. Okay, so my next goal is kind of silly, but I want to actually write reviews for every book that I read. A lot of times I only do this kind of verbal reviews at the end of the month on YouTube. And then occasionally if I read like an arc, I will do a written review on social media and or my Goodreads. But I really want to be better at actually writing reviews on Goodreads, especially because I think that it's one thing for, you know, y'all to go on my Goodreads and be like, oh, Paige rated this a 4 stars. But like really understanding why I rated it that and like why I liked it and everything, I think is also important. And some people prefer to not watch a 20-minute long video where I yap while other people do. So, you know, I want there to be a way to get my review and it not have to just be in this one content. As well as I know for me, I was looking through my Goodreads and I realized the only time I really wrote reviews were for arcs. And I just think that that shouldn't be the only time I write a review. I want my Goodreads to have a variety of reviews going on it. So I'm not saying that after I read every book, the second I finish it, I'm writing a review, but like at the end of the month, when I'm going back through the books I read and making sure the ratings are still what I want them to be, you know, preparing to film my reading wrap up, maybe then sitting down and writing reviews of the books, because I also think it'll help me when I'm then giving the review to you guys in this format to remember what I want to talk about and what I really enjoyed, because as we all know, when you read 3 to 5 books a month, basically, because that's usually my average, sometimes things like to blur and bend, and you're kind of like, wait a minute, was that from that book? Or was that from that book? So that's kind of one of the goals that I'm hoping, really, really hoping, Paige, do it. So again, kind of silly, but I think for me will be beneficial. All right, next book goal is about buying books. My favorite hobby. So I've talked about this a little bit in, oh, what video was it? I think it might have been my January TBR. Oh, my cat is at the door. If you hear meowing, I'm sorry. I can't remember exactly which video, but I talked about it a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about it more in depth here. So I do have book subscriptions. I have a book subscription to Fairy Loot. I have a subscription to Probably Smut, and then I have a subscription to the Love Society book box. I also am an influencer for Cover to Cover book box, and they do occasionally send me books. So those are kind of the places that I will get books from that aren't necessarily me going to like Barnes & Noble and buying a book. So besides those, I will not be purchasing for myself any books that I have not already read, except, like I said, for the book boxes that I receive either as kind of like compensation for posting, slash subscriptions, because obviously I can't help what book they choose to make special editions of. And like Fairy Loot, you only get a certain amount of skips, so, you know, taking all of that with a grain of salt, those ones kind of can't count. Unless the book is not on Kindle Unlimited, and the only way I can read it is if I buy it. Because I would rather just buy the physical copy, spend a little bit more buying the physical copy than buying the Kindle copy and the physical copy. But luckily, a lot of books that I want to read are on Kindle Unlimited. So Again, I hope that made sense. I will only buy books if I've already read them, excluding, we don't count my Fairy Lou and all of those book subscriptions, and we don't count them if they're not on Kindle Unlimited because I don't want to spend the money twice. I feel like I definitely could have explained that better, but I think you guys will understand the point. I think it'll just help me make sure I'm reading the physical TBR that I have, as well as saving money because homegirl spends a lot on books. And yeah, I just think that for me, it'll be hard, but I think I can do it. I've actually had some friends ask me, because I was explaining that, and they were like, well, like, if it's a gift card, will you buy a book you don't have, like, that you've not read? And I've really thought about that, and I think I'm still trying to stick to only buying the books that I've read, because even though it's a gift card, it's still money that became mine because it was given to me. And gift cards don't really expire, so I'm kind of like, hey, okay, maybe I wait till the end of the year and I go crazy and I get you guys a big haul. I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe I break this book buying ban in, 2 months. We don't know. It's a goal. We will see. But I am excited to see how long I can do it / how well I am at it. I actually almost broke it the other day when I was at the bookstore and kind of forgot this was my goal. And I picked up a book and then I was like, wait, Paige, you have not read that yet. Put that back. I took a picture of it so that I can read it. But I was like, girl, put it back on the shelf. You don't need it. But yeah, that's kind of in the book buying realm, my main goal for 2026. Okay, guys, I brought my cat in for a minute so you guys can say hi. I say hi as if you guys can actually say hi, but you know what I mean. So this is Lukin. Are you clean? Yeah, okay. He has really long fur, so sometimes, Lukin has a question, everybody. He never gets to be in here, so he's like, let me down. I want to go explore. Mwah. I love you. You're my good boy. Will you just lay here while I film? No? Okay. Well, we'll keep talking. I may have to get up and run after him because he likes to cause trouble because he's a butt. Yeah. Where were we? We were on some sort of goal. Oh, right, the book buying ban stuff. So that's actually all I have for book related specifics. Now we go into writing. So this is where Paige has really got to be stricter. My goal last year was to have my first draft of my first book done. That did not happen. We got further than we were, but that did not happen. So I'm gonna once again make that my goal. Part of me wanted to make that and something else my goal, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not trying to be overly zealous. I just want to finish my first draft this year. If I start editing it, great. If I don't, that's okay. There's no timeline. Obviously, I want it to be able to be read by you guys and anyone that wants to read it sooner rather than later, but if it has to be later, it has to be later, and that's okay. And then second thing relating to writing is also, I would like to be able to at least write once a week, which I know for some writers, you might be like, what? But I am in college, and when I am in school most of the months of the year, I have to put most of my time into going to class, doing homework, and studying. So when I do have free time, a lot of that goes to reading, as well as something that I do kind of on the side as like a job, which I'll explain later. But I do want to try to take some of the time I use for those other things and put it towards writing. So I'm just kind of using this as an example, but like every Friday I sit down for like an hour or two and I just write. I think that will help me reach the whole getting to my first draft of my book, as well as getting to, really edit and get closer to that end product that I'm hoping for, as well as just making sure that I don't not get what I want out of it. Like, I want to get this written. I want people to be able to read it. And I have ideas for other books in the series. I want to get those started. So again, kind of, trying to keep myself accountable for the goal, but also trying to keep the process going and not just coming to a full, halt. All right, so those were my writing goals, and then I don't know what it's called, my like job goals. Very hesitant there with job. So if you have not seen other videos where I've talked about it, / don't follow me on other social media platforms where I've talked about it. I don't know if you can tell, but these things right here are little like plastic things that are called movie moments, and they have things called Disney Doorables in them. So it's just kind of like Disney scenes kind of captured. I love Disney. I'm a big fan of Disney. I have, you know, my top favorite movies and all of that stuff, but I used to, for probably like 2 or 3 years, I was collecting these Disney Doorables, and when I'd get duplicates, I had nothing to do with them. I would just keep them in a bag, and the bag just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I finally discovered this app called Whatnot, and I realized, oh, I can sell them on here. So I started selling Doorables on that app, and then I also got into pins because of that app. That has caused the bank to hate me, because it got the books and the pins. So then I started selling pins as well to help make money from my own buying of pins, and I sold books on there a little bit too. Like, literally, it's called Whatnot. You can sell anything on there. So yeah, that was it in a little bit of a nutshell. So my goal is to be more proactive on making sure that I at least have one show for each of my niches, which is Doorables and pins, a week, to really try to make sure that I'm getting as much monetary value out of what I bought, because basically I have to buy it to resell it. I also make crafts out of them. I make pens and keychains, and then I actually for Christmas got bookmark making stuff. So I now make bookmarks as well. So for the bookmarks, I have 2 kind of different versions that I make. I have one where you can kind of see it's a bunch of just like metal clasps with charms on them, and they all connect and make this, you know, cute bookmark. You can make it as long or as short as you want. I'm still in the process of learning how to make eye hooks, so they look a little rough, I know. Don't come at me, I know. I'm still new. But then I also make ones like this, where they're just kind of tied together. So that one I think looks better just because you can't see all the eye hooks, but I think once I get the eye hooks down, those ones will look really cool. Even though I still think they look cool now. And then I was like, wait, why would I just make bookmarks? Oh, Luki, what's wrong, baby? Come here. Where are you? Okay, I don't know what my cat's meowing about. But why make bookmarks when I can also make Kindle charms? So I know it's really tiny, so it is hard to see. But it is a little Kindle charm, so you put the little clear part in where like you would charge your Kindle, and then this kind of hangs out of it. So those are the examples that I've made. I have not made any more. I do plan to make some more soon. I actually have a bunch of ends to make like little sports romance ones. I think I got a football, a basketball, a baseball. I got another hockey stick. I think that might have been all they had in stock at the time. And then I got a sparkly cowboy hat because I know, even though I don't like them, I know lots of people love the cowboy romances. So I'll be making those so that you guys can kind of, you know, if you want a bookmark, you can get a bookmark. I will have my Etsy linked down below so that you guys can easily get to it and shop all you want. I also, like, how do I explain this? I will make custom orders for people, but you will have to message me through Etsy and or my Instagram for that specific thing. Luki, come here, what's wrong? But it's kind of hard to take, you know, custom orders until I know people actually like want them. So I'm making them kind of just slowly, sporadically, until I kind of see if it's something that people actually want. And then if they do want it, I will make like more. But yeah, you guys let me know if you have any ideas for bookmarks that you guys would be curious to see. Oh, I also got a dragon. That was what it was. I got a dragon. I mean, of course I did. So yeah, I kind of am just wanting to really, I want to do my reading and I want to do my writing, but I also want to actively do this other hobby that I enjoy of kind of reselling and crafting. because it's fun and I do make money from it, so like why not? Okay guys, so that was my video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Luki, do not show your butt to the camera. Nobody wants to see that. Also, make sure that you check out my other videos. I have had, let's see, at this point, I've had my January TBR up, my November and December reading wrap up. That might be it for right now. But I will say we have a very exciting video coming up soon with my friend Alicia, so you guys will definitely want to check that out. And yeah, do you want to come say goodbye? Come here. No, don't run away. Come here. Come here. Ow, ow. I just want you to say goodbye. Hi. He hates me. He doesn't. He loves me. He just wants to explore because, like I said, he doesn't get to come in here very often. But yeah, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And ow, ow, ow. We will see you guys next time. Bye!